Have you ever thought about using the Pixie CW transceiver for DX? Because that's the wish of my friend Yankee Oscar 5 Bravo Delta Lima. So he sent me this 40 meters band Pixie that he built from a kit he purchased from AliExpress for only $3 to convert it to the 20 meters band. So we'll do that in this video, but before I do that, I just want to remove all the components and rebuild the entire kit. That's just because I actually measured the capacitors from the low pass filter on the output. They're supposed to be 470 picofarads. So on the capacitors it was written 471 as it should be, but when I measured them they actually had 40 nanofarads. So I don't trust any of the values from the components soldered to the boards right now. So I'm going to have to rebuild the entire kit just to make sure that all the components have the right value. And yeah, that's what I get for $3, but it's a fun kit. So if you measure the components properly before soldering them to the board, I think you'll be fine. And if in case you find any anomalies like I did over here, you just replace them with the right value. So anyway, let's not waste any time. I will rebuild the kit and leave only the components that are strictly for the 20 meters band. So we're going to talk about that and what modifications I made to the standard 40 meters band kit in order to get it to work on 20 meters. Alright, beautiful people, I'm back with the finished Pixie, and I apologize for my voice, but I think I got a little cold because I'm not feeling very well. Anyhow, I stayed up last night until late to finish this. So what I did, I removed all the components from the kit. I cleaned up the board and I resoldered everything back, but not before measuring each component before soldering back onto the board. So in the defense of the one who sold the kit to my friend on on AliExpress, all the component values were fine except the ceramic capacitors. Those were all messed up. So I'm not sure what's going on. As I was saying in the last video with the matchbox transceiver, I spoke about the same issue. I don't know. Anyhow, I replaced all of them with the right value with using capacitors from my junk box. So I made a couple of modifications already on the board. I only left the low pass filter that I didn't install, and that's because we're going to talk separately about that one. But over here I replaced the crystal with 14.060 megahertz, and over here you have these two capacitors, C3 and C7. Technically in the schematic of the kit they're supposed to be 100 picofarads. From my experiments I've realized that on the 20 meters band I'm getting better results if I'm using 47 picofarads. So I replaced the 100 picofarads capacitors with 47 picofarads, and that's the only modification that you do on this side. Everything else stays just like in the original schematic. Over here on the output, because the Pixie has this really high pitch annoying sounds that I don't know, they're very annoying, especially if you're listening into your headphones for quite a long time. It gives you headaches, honestly. So what I do always to the Pixie kits, I cut the trace over here. I'm going to show you on my older kit where exactly you cut the trace and you clean up the insulation, you know, the ink that it's on top, so you can solder this inductor over here. And I'm using 1 millihenry, and this one cut the high frequencies a little bit, and the sound it's more mellow, so it's you know, much easier to digest, so you're able to actually listen to the Pixie CW transceiver for a longer period of time. So that's it. Let's hear the oscillator, the way it sounds in my transceiver, and after that I'm going to transmit with my transceiver into a dummy load, so you get to hear the way it sounds in the Pixie, and that's the only test that I'm going to do for now. We'll jump on the low pass filter after that. Obviously, I'm not going to continue without saying thank you to today's sponsor of the video, PCB Way. They have great PCB prototyping services, PCB assembly, SMD stencils, CNC, 3D printing, and a lot more available for you. Don't forget about the module store, because they have a lot of interesting things over there that you might find useful for your projects, and I recommend you to always make the order over there together with your PCB board so you can receive everything in one package, and this way you'll keep your expenses low. If you don't have an account for PCB Way, have a look down in the video description. You'll find a link where you can register and you'll get a discount on your first order. As I'm always saying, PCB Way is the way. So this is the standard Pixie schematic of a standard chip kit that you can find on AliExpress and so on. The simple version, without a buzzer, without LED lights and so on. And this I intentionally used one of the wrong schematics, so I can show you the mistakes that they usually do. But here is C3 and C7. I said that usually in the 40 meters band kit you have to use 100 picofarads capacitors. For the 20 meters band I use 47 picofarads for both of them, just because I usually got better results. Now let's talk about quick mistakes. Here on C4 this one is written 100 microfarads. I don't recommend you to put that value over there. This is supposed to be 10 nanofarads, and over here this one C2 is also supposed to be 10 nanofarads. I mean, I tried and I made my mistakes at the beginning when I didn't know much about radio stuff, and I built it this way, and of course I didn't have great results. So make sure for C2 and C4 you use 10 nanofarads, you'll get good results. Another mistake, here you can see C9 is 47 nanofarads. On C10 is written 473. What is that? That is actually the number that is written on the capacitor, and it's nothing but 47 nanofarads, same like C9. It's just written the wrong way. Not sure why they keep doing that, but anyway. And I think these are the only mistakes in this schematic. Let me double check, but I don't think I have anything else. Yeah, that's fine. These are the only ones over here. So another modification that I made was to cut the trace over here, and this is the spot where we soldered the inductor, the 1 millihenry inductor, to cut down the high frequencies on the audio output. And now we're going to talk about the low pass filter. We're going to build this one. The only thing I worry about is that I'm not going to have enough space to put my toroid inductor, because that's what we're going to use. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we build it. C5 and C6, these will not longer be 470 picofarads. We will use 220 picofarads for each of these capacitors, and in parallel with the inductor on the back of the board we're going to solder a 75 picofarad capacitor to cut down the second harmonic. We might have to adjust its value, but we'll see. But yeah, these are all the modifications that we will have to make in order to get the Pixie ready for DX on the 20 meters band. When it comes to building low pass filters, this is where it's important the things that I was saying earlier about checking the value of the capacitors. And we'll do a quick comparison between the kind of capacitors that you find in today's kits. And this is actually a brand new capacitor that I purchased from a local store just a couple of weeks back. And over here on the left we have a capacitor that I recovered from a radio built in the 80s. So it's more than 40 years old. So let's do a quick measurement and you'll see the difference and why it's so important to get good quality capacitors, especially when it comes to building low pass filters, because we're trying to be as exact as possible in order to get the best results. So first I'm going to measure the 220 picofarads capacitor that is brand new, and it's 249 picofarads, so almost 250 picofarads, not at all 220. And if you need 220 picofarads for your low pass filter, that might not be a good thing. And this is the 40 years old capacitor that I recovered from a receiver, 219 picofarads. I think it's much better if I use recovered components than the brand new ones they sell today in the stores. That's the idea, and usually that's what you get in the kits, the cheap ones at least. So this is the inductor that I prepared for the 20 meters version Pixie. It's built on a T37-6 toroid using 0.4 millimeters enameled copper wire. I'm using 12 turns and it measures 0.65 millihenry. I wasn't sure if I can fit this one into the Pixie board because of the connector that I have over here, the big one, but I tested and somehow I can manage to squeeze it over there. So I'll solder it really quick and we'll come back with some measurements to see the power output and the harmonic suppression. Well, now that I soldered everything in place and the low pass filter is ready, let's do a quick test, a power test to see the power output. So I'm powering it with 12 volts right now. So it's somewhere around 350 milliwatts, but this is without the 75 picofarads capacitor soldered in parallel with the inductor. And on the tiny SA, I'll show you the effect of that. So what you see over there, that's the oscillator. And let's start transmitting. And as you can tell, the second harmonic it's way too high. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to solder the 75 picofarads capacitor in place and see the result after that. I'm ready for the surprise. So again, we're powering it with 12 volts, so it's the maximum power. And here's the surprise. The second harmonic it's way lower than what it used to be. And not only that, there's more. So let's check the power output right now. Again, still at 12 volts. So we get 500 milliwatts. Now let me lower the voltage down to 9 volts. It's same like we would use a 9-volt battery. Actually, let me put it down to 8.5. Let's say we have a low battery. Let's see the power output right now. 200 milliwatts. How about 8 volts? Around 190, 180 milliwatts. Now let's see a full 9-volt battery. About 250. So it's not bad. I really like it. I'm happy with the result. So here we are with the finished Pixie for the 20 meters band, the DX version. And I'm really happy that inductor fit quite well in that tiny space over there. I'm surprised. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. And on the back of the board you can see the 75 picofarads capacitor that I soldered in parallel with the inductor, so we fixed the issue on the second harmonic. So I hope my friend Yankee Oscar 5 Bravo Delta Lima will be happy about this one. The only thing that I cannot get rid of in any of the standard Pixie kits is the interferences from the AM broadcast band, and you'll hear that in a little bit when we'll do a quick receive demo. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Trust me, with 500 milliwatts on the 20 meters band, if you have good propagation conditions, you can get some interesting QSOs. And Vlad will prove you very soon, because he's probably going to use this one to do some contacts. And he always surprised me, because he managed to get some contacts, really great ones, with even less than 500 milliwatts, like somewhere around 50, 100 milliwatts. So yeah, you don't need 100 watts to work some good stations if you have patience for good propagation conditions. and you know when to get on air. This Pixie is no longer a toy, like many people say. So you can get some really cool contacts on this one. Anyhow, good luck with your DX, and I hope you found this video useful. And that's it for today. I'll leave you with a received demo, and until next time, thank you so much for watching, and 73 from Yankee Oscar 6 Delta X-Ray Echo. Bár a vallásos emberek kisebbségben vannak, a csehek általában toleránsak mások hitével szemben is, nem jellemző a vallási megkülönböztetés. A vallás inkább magán